I started reading a book about music. It's not what I expected. I was expecting an academic analysis, not a collection of emotionally charged personal opinions, in which the author flaunts his intellectual superiority just because he can read scores or recognize a composer. After about 20 pages, I ran into an alarming amount of logical errors, exaggerations, and unproven claims. One of the central ideas was that true music meets the times. No, that isn't profound. It's false. The basic structures of music, rhythm, harmony, tonality, consonance, dissonance, have been established for centuries and are dictated by the biological architecture of the human auditory system, not by mystical visions about the future. Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, and Brahms didn't foresee anything. They explored the already existing cognitive space of sound perception. Music doesn't evolve progressively like technology. There is no version 2.0 of harmony. There are only different combinations within the same neural limits. I've met enough people who, just because they can recognize a Mozart or a Tchaikovsky, think they're clearly superior to those who can't tell a mandolin from a guitar. That isn't culture. It's psychological compensation. Social psychology clearly shows that individuals use cultural capital, meaning artistic tastes and references, as something that highlights their status, not as proof of intelligence. In other words, you don't know music because you're superior. You use it to seem superior. Personally, the metaphors about the cosmic transcendence of a sonata make me nauseous. Yes, music produces emotions. For example, a song sung off-key made me throw up. Therefore, the emotional reaction does not prove aesthetic value. It only proves that the nervous system reacts to stimuli. From a neurobiological point of view, music activates dopaminergic circuits associated with reward, anticipation, and memory, exactly the same circuits activated by food, sex, drugs, or gambling. It's not sacred. It's chemistry. It's true that music can be understood, but this understanding does not correlate with general intelligence, emotional depth, or cognitive maturity. Anyone can listen to symphonic music. Millions of people hear it daily in commercials, films, elevators, or restaurants without knowing what genre it is and without having any negative reaction. This shows that appreciating music does not require formal education, music theory, or superior sensitivity. You don't have to understand music. You don't have to feel it correctly. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. You're not obligated to explain to anyone why. Pleasure doesn't justify itself. It is simply observed. Some people listen to music for energy, fun, emotional release, and they need lyrics to articulate their states. Perfectly normal behavior that developed thousands of years ago. Others don't need lyrics, not because they're deeper, but because their psychological structure doesn't require verbalizing emotions in order to process them. A personality difference, not a difference in human value. But, of course, for some it's more comforting to believe they're higher on the spiritual ladder than to accept that their nervous system simply processes external stimuli differently. Stimuli that induce a certain state in them. Now, so I don't seem like I'm insulting them, let me explain scientifically why people remain stuck in the music of their adolescence, and why older generations have allergic reactions to anything that appears after the year their last flexible neuron died. Not because they're stupid, but because they are biological. They are simply people. The brain undergoes massive changes between 12 and 22 years old. This is the period when the neural circuits responsible for emotion, reward, autobiographical memory, and identity are extremely plastic. The music listened to then imprints deeply into the nervous system. Puberty hormones amplify emotional reactions, and when a song is associated with first loves, first friendships, first rejections, and first moments of autonomy, it literally becomes part of the synaptic architecture of identity. Neuroimaging shows that music from adolescence activates the auditory cortex, the limbic system, and dopaminergic circuits more intensely than music discovered later. Petter Janata's studies confirm this clearly. There is also the phenomenon called the reminiscence bump. People remember disproportionately many things from the 10 to 30 age interval, because it is the period when personal identity is formed. Music becomes a marker of the self. You don't just remember the track, you remember who you were when you were listening to it. Not because the music was better, but because the brain was more malleable. Add to this the familiarity effect. The brain prefers what it recognizes. Familiar stimuli are processed more easily, and this ease is perceived as pleasure. Once you enter adult life, time for exploration decreases, and the brain shifts from exploration to exploitation. It sticks with what it knows works. That's why discovering new music peaks around the age of 24 and drops drastically after 30. It's not moral conservatism, it's cognitive economy. There's also the social factor. In adolescence, music is a marker of belonging. It defines your group, your identity, your symbolic positioning. Rock, hip-hop, dance, metal, pop. They're not just genres, they're social badges. Ethnographic studies show that similarity in musical tastes increases the probability of friendship more than similarity in personality. Later, music no longer builds identity. It signals it. But the foundation still remains the one from youth. All of this explains why older people reject new music. Not because it is objectively worse. Not because young people are stupid. But because neuroplasticity decreases, circuits become more rigid, and the brain no longer extracts reward from unfamiliar sound structures. It's not a cultural conflict. It's a conflict between synapses and time. Therefore, musical tastes are not a battle between generations, styles, or levels of intelligence. Those who listen to rock are not stupid or aggressive. Those who listen to symphonic music are not intelligent or sensitive. Those who listen to trap are not degenerate. And those who listen to Bach are not deeper. Musical genre does not correlate with IQ, empathy, emotional maturity, or complexity of thinking. There is absolutely no scientific evidence for these hierarchies. They are fables of pride. There is, however, badly made music. That isn't about taste, but about competence. There are uncontrollable voices, incoherent structures, grammatically disastrous lyrics, productions built on noise packaged as a message. Just as not any noise is music and not any text is literature, not any rhythmic sound is art. That isn't elitism. It's a minimal criterion of aesthetic functionality. Tolerating mediocrity is not cultural openness. It is a crime. Those who listen to music with lyrics full of subject-verb agreement errors should be arrested and sentenced to prison. Those who listen to music only because the lead singer looks good, knows how to undress on stage, and the voice goes through autotune are just idiots. Society's losers who are easily fooled and buy an extremely low-quality product. Meaning, they adopt that principle. You take your clothes off and shake your ass. Music is listened to with the ear, not watched with the eyes. What is music must be music, regardless of genre, not striptease. So, to be clear in a way everyone understands, there is no biologically or cognitively superior music. The brain reacts to sound. That's it. Musical taste doesn't show how intelligent you are. It only shows what kind of stimuli you like. People who believe they're superior because they listen to Mozart are not cultured. They're just insecure. And it's all classic social psychology. Nothing more. Older generations reject new music because their brains become rigid, not because the music is worse. Neuroscience, not morality. And you don't have to explain to anyone why you like something. Pleasure isn't argued. It's observed. There is good music and bad music, but there are no superior tastes. Clear. If you like something, that's enough. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to prove that you understand. Pleasure isn't legitimized through theory. It's lived. And the people who try to turn personal taste into a moral hierarchy are not more cultured. They're just people with a lot of complexes and louder. That's it, and nothing more.